sees the memes of production, and the like and subscribe button. Tapper and Thompson report that Biden began forgetting names, staring blankly at people he'd known for well over a decade, and became more disoriented and incoherent when he was fatigued. In response to the book's reporting, a Biden spokesperson said in a statement to Axios that Biden's, quote, medical exam had made clear he had a stiffened gait caused, in part, by wear and tear to his spine, but that no special treatment was necessary and that it had not worsened. That is not an answer to the underlying question. Oh, dude, it's not that he's too old. It's the wear and tear to his spine. It's just that his most important bone is so old that it's getting creaky and stiff, you know? I don't know, man. Stuff like this really does contribute to people's distrust in the Democrats. I mean, do any of you trust the Democrats? I sure as shit don't. My support for the Democrats for a long time has been entirely in like a utilitarian, like, I guess it's better than the Fourth Reich kind of way. But I mean, most people don't think that way. Most people, you know, they don't think like, yeah, I don't trust these guys, but I'm going to vote for them anyway. Most people kind of go off their gut feeling, you know? So it's not surprising to me that the DNC has earned so much distrust with behavior like this. Then why would they trust the GOP despite all the instances of them lying? Because the GOP doesn't backtrack. The GOP, like, for one, creates an atmosphere of, like, ambivalent truth, where it's difficult to know whether they're telling a joke or being hyperbolic or whatever. It's the same way that if you have a friend who only speaks in like super banal corporate speak, if they tell a lie, you know it's because they lied. Whereas if you have a friend who's like braggadocious and funny and like kind of aggressive, but also likes to play around a little bit, if they say something that's not true, you don't necessarily think they lied. It could be an overstatement. It could be, you know, like a little fib or like in service of a joke. So the Republicans create an atmosphere where it's easier to let them get away with it, to be honest. And that's part of that is just convenience because Trump is naturally like that. And part of that is deliberate on their part, you know. But the Democrats give themselves absolutely no leeway for that behavior because the Democrats are generally joyless. Not all of them, but as a party, they're joyless. They don't even like have fun or take credit for their own accomplishments. Meanwhile, every single Trump speech is like a rally celebrating his imagined successes. It also helps, of course, that Republicans don't really like backtrack or admit fault. You know, like they just kind of carry on forward. And so far, the statement continues from Biden's aide. We are still waiting for anyone to point out where Joe Biden had to make a presidential decision or make a presidential address where he was unable to do his job because of mental decline. Oh my God. Prove it. Prove one time Biden did a bad job because of his mental decline. Are you kidding me? First of all, even if there wasn't an immediate example every one of us is thinking of right now, what a horrible response to that statement. Prove it. Prove it a single time. Give us evidence. Like math evidence. Like you have to prove it. But I don't know, the debate that was so bad that was what led to him being removed as the Democratic primary leader. I mean, like, that's just one, but it's like you look at anything he did or said over the last 2 years. Jesus. And that's when Jill Biden said the people who wrote those books were not in the White House with us and they didn't see how hard Joe worked every day. But the people who wrote those books were Biden's White House aides. So they did do those things. That is, in fact, what they did. Also, by the way, keep in mind, like, it's not as though the book was written by a nobody. The book was written by Jake Tapper and Alex Thompson. The reason journalists are writing the book is because they pull statements from the aides. Like it's not just like one aide getting rich off a sensationalist book or anything like that. Jake Tapper's a hack. Yes, that's true, but not a hack in the capacity of being a mindless robot attacking the Democratic Party. There are so many statements from so many people who've worked. We have statements from members of House and Senate saying they couldn't get meetings with Biden because his aides were protecting him. It's really bad. Whatever. It doesn't matter when you can just use your eyes and ears. That's true. As a politician, you're running for public office. All that really matters is like whether or not it affects your standing publicly. And everyone thinks that Biden was too old. How are we doing, folks? It's a pretty wild news day. Honestly, I'm still kind of, what's the term? Not rattled. I don't know. Coasting off of the Saudi Arabia speech, painting a scene from Sinners at the moment. I gotta watch that. Have you seen the thing with Al Green trying to impeach Trump? I don't really think there's any point in attempting to impeach Trump. Like, it's not going to go through. It obviously won't go through. It's really just a matter of like whether or not you can make a big scene doing it. You know? Yeah, if you have the votes, nuts. Also, by the way, at this point, if somehow Trump was actually impeached, you know that he just wouldn't leave, right? Like they could impeach him, like nothing would happen after that. Like that'd be so funny. That would certainly be something. GOP is moving to remove the 3 Dems who opposed ICE from their committee seat. Cool. These are the congressmen from New Jersey who were present during the arrest of the mayor of Newark, trying to remove them from the Appropriations Committee, the Energy and Commerce Committee, and the Small Business and Homeland Security panels. That's great. You see Asmongold and Ethan celebrated Hassan being detained by ICE? No, why would I see that? Did you know that these idiots had a bad opinion that it's entirely consistent with all of the previous positions they've held? Is this interesting to you? Biden didn't recognize George Clooney at 2024 fundraiser, new book says. CNN, goddamn piece of shit. George Clooney, huh? That's crazy. Backstage before the fundraiser, Clooney greeted the president when he arrived after a 3-day trip to Italy for the G7 conference. The president appeared, quote, severely diminished, as if he'd aged a decade since Clooney last saw him in December 2022, the authors write in an excerpt of the book. You know George, the assisting aide told the president, gently reminding him who was in front of him. Yeah, the president said to one of the most recognizable men in the world, the host of this lucrative fundraiser. Thank you for being here. It seemed clear that the president had not recognized Clooney. Tapper and Thompson write. The excerpt was published from Tapper and Thompson's new book, Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again, which will be released on May 20th. Based on more than 200 interviews, mostly with Democratic insiders. I can't believe it. I might actually buy that, dude. Because I hate the Democrats, and I want to hate them more. I want to maximize that emotional impulse, you know? Clooney was shaken to his core by the interaction with a man he'd known for years. Tapper and Thompson report. The interaction helps explain the motivation for Clooney to release an op-ed less than a month later calling on Biden to drop out of the race. Oh, yeah. Damn, that's dude, his brief interaction with Joe Biden was so bad that he wrote an op-ed calling for him to drop out. That's how bad it was. Jesus, man. The actor had been shocked by a letter Biden released on July 8th insisting he was staying in the race. He reached out to Barack Obama to tell him he was considering writing the op-ed. Obama advised that doing so would only make Biden dig his heels in deeper. Jesus. Is Paul's ego the most vindicated man of all time? Does he have any favorite numbers I could punch in as like lottery ticket numbers? It's crazy. After Clooney wrote a draft, he shared it with Jeffrey Katzenberg, major Democratic donor who organized the June fundraiser, and told Katzenberg to share it with Biden's longtime aide, Steve Ricchetti, the authors write. Ricchetti read it and was furious, Tapper and Thompson report. Internally, he threatened to shut Clooney down. Some of his colleagues thought he sounded like a mob boss. This is where Democratic power goes. Republican power goes towards building party unity by threatening their own to make sure they all fall in line behind the president's vision. Democratic power goes towards protecting their own against anything, even like effectiveness, you know? That's the only time the Democrats exercise power. Any rule can be bent as long as it's being bent in the service of protecting Democratic insiders and their cushy jobs. It has nothing to do with power. It has nothing to do with political effectiveness. That's the only time they're willing to do anything. Another wedding guest who sat at Schumer's table recalled him saying, if things go south of the debate, me, Barack, Nancy, and Akeem have a plan B. Though Schumer would later deny it, the authors write. We got so screwed by Biden as a party, David Plouffe, a former top Obama campaign aide who helped run Kamala Harris's campaign after Biden dropped out, told Tapper and Thompson. And it's all Biden, Plouffe said. By deciding to run for re-election and then waiting more than 3 weeks after the debate to bow out, Plouffe added, he totally fucked us. Genuinely insane. I mean, what is their plan B? Kamala Harris. Genuinely insane. Like, this is... No wonder nobody else is coming to Biden's defense now that he's in the public eye. A bunch of the people who might have otherwise spoken publicly are probably in the damn book that's coming out. What's the name of the book? Original Sin, President Biden's Decline, Its Cover-Up, and His Disastrous Choice to Run Again. Damn, that's a title.